So maybe we don't put this in the film, but I actually never used to take deload weeks.
You can definitely put that in there.
No way.
It's on. Sam's recording.
Or,
Don't worry, I've admitted to all sorts of terrible things over the years.
But now I do. I'm about to have my first deload week in 2 weeks. I'm very excited.
For anyone watching this episode today, you might actually notice a little bit of noise in the background from drills and impact drivers. We hope it doesn't affect the audio quality too much, but we're doing a load of building next door. So we'll do a reveal on that very soon with some new climbing surfaces, and of course that will feature on our YouTube channel. But apologies in advance for any audio issues. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Ask Lattice. I have on the couch next to me, Coach Rhos.
Hello.
This is your second session, isn't it?
It is. I'm very nervous.
Yeah, first one was with Josh, which is already out on the channel, so go and have a look in the videos below. And what was the topic on that one that you did?
I think it was just like an introduction to me, so you can find out all the information you need about me.
All the gossip.
Yeah, all the goss, all the hot goss.
The flashes, the red points, the worked project grades, everything.
Yeah, all the important stuff. Nothing about my general personality, just the climbing.
Okay. Well, that sounds perfect then, because today what we're going to do is we're going to do hot topics. So this is kind of like the things that we see typically in climbers at the gym, at the crag, or clients that we work with, where they're areas which we often tackle a lot of as coaches, where we end up almost just going around in cycles talking about these same topics again and again because they're really important when it comes down to training or performance or recovery or planning. So I thought it'd be really cool for me and Rhos to go through some of these, see some of the opinions that we might have as different, and go through those, because we also have a different background in climbing as well, don't we?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, we don't do, well, I do a lot of trad climbing.
And I don't do a lot of trad
Yeah,
climbing.
yeah. How long have you been climbing for? I can't remember.
Probably about 20 years now, so it's been like most of my life.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so that is pretty cool that you like start off as a kid, and I didn't really have any idea that I'd probably still be doing it at this age, but it's nice that I still am. I still enjoy it, so that's good.
Ah, so I think we've been climbing almost the same number of years then.
Really?
I'm just over 20 years.
No way,
Yeah,
that's
but
crazy.
I started late.
Yeah, I think it's better to start earlier, I think. Well, I don't know, you're still obviously really good, but I think maybe it's better to start earlier because you get all that movement stuff in and you get all the moves in when you're younger. That I think it maybe helps in your later development. Yeah. But I mean, that's not to go and say don't start climbing because you're like over the age of 20, so. No,
you can definitely go a long way.
Yeah.
That actually takes us to, or perfectly sets us up for the first topic that I wanted to talk about. And this kind of in a way relates back to, in some ways, the stuff that you had with your junior years and where you would have come into climbing is, what's your opinion? It's definitely opinion,
okay,
not fact.
My opinion.
Your opinion on the value of indoor climbing versus outdoors, because we have juniors who often come through the indoor route for, 5 or 10 years and barely touch outdoors.
Yeah.
But then we also have people that are trying to mix and match this blend between indoors and outdoors.
Yeah. So I definitely come into the latter category. I spend quite a lot of my time climbing outdoors, and that's probably because when I was young, I climbed a lot outdoors and I really got to love it and sort of developed my climbing through that. But I was very fortunate to have a coach who took me outdoors from a young age. And I think you learn a lot of skills from climbing outdoors when you're younger. Like, it really helps with your head game, really helps with your technique and your movement, because the climbing's not as obvious when it's outdoors. Like, you have to find your own holds and stuff like that. So I think it is really valuable to spend some of your time climbing outdoors. And I obviously love it. And I would advise everyone to do it because it's so much nicer being outside as opposed to just climbing indoors in the gym all the time. And it sort of separates it a little bit as well. So separates your indoor training to your outdoor climbing. But I can see from the other point of view that if you want to get good at comps and you want to be really good at indoor climbing, then you should probably just focus your time on climbing indoors. But I personally think it's a lot more fun to mix it up.
And what was that blend for you as a junior for, I know you climbed lots outdoors, but was it a 3 days a week outdoors and 1 day inside, or was it actually 50-50? How did that actual blend look like, and what did you get from either side? Or rather, what did you get from the indoor stuff that you didn't get from the outdoors?
So I probably would climb outside maybe once a week on the weekends because it was a lot easier to go outside on the weekends, and then maybe twice a week indoors. So maybe like that sort of split. I think you get a very different stimulus from climbing indoors and outdoors. So the outdoor sessions were definitely a lot more chilled out. You probably don't do as much volume, you probably don't work at as much a high intensity, but you do get all of that movement skills that I think you get from indoor climbing as well, but I think you learn a lot more to like weight your feet, place your feet well, use the correct bit of your shoe, use the correct bit of the hold and stuff like that. Because the outside footholds are so much smaller than what you get indoors that, yeah, I think it's really great for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's probably would be my one point that I would make over indoors versus outdoors is the footwork skills that you get from outside versus in. Because I've worked with so many amazing junior comp climbers who've spent 10 years perfecting their indoor craft.
Yeah.
Like, freaking very, very strong, very, very fit. But then you watch how they use outdoor holds.
Yeah.
They almost just sort of plonk, smear them on holds, just like very good holds indoors. And they're not kind of toeing in and really working the foothold to the maximum.
Yeah.
And I think that...
And they're trying to hold everything like a half crimp. They don't get the like different nuances in the different handholds and stuff like that.
Yeah, because everything indoors feels great
in
a half crimp.
Yeah.
And it's, well, they've been designed by not a root setter, but a hold carver to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Whereas outside, I always feel like you get some quite weird holds.
Yeah. I think the thing is that most people, if you've climbed indoors for a while, when you go outdoors the first few times, you are obviously going to drop your grade and it is going to be harder. And I think sometimes people don't like that. Maybe it's like a bit of an ego bash or whatever. But I think if you push through that, then you will like obviously develop your outdoor climbing skills and you will get so much better outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last kind of thing on the indoors versus outdoors, do you see with people that you know or you work with their sort of training, a sweet spot between indoors and outdoor balance? Like, is there a point where if you're chatting to someone and they say to you, every 10th session, I go once outdoors.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling with applying my power. Like, where's that sweet spot for you in your experience?
For me personally, I perform much better inside if I go outside at least once a week. And that is sort of the place where I sort of like express my training in my outdoor sessions. So I feel like it's really good, like almost benchmarking every week for me to like try and go out and I'd like try really hard and see what I can do. And it sort of gives me the motivation to keep training in the week, to sort of have those goals outside, I find.
Yeah. It's interesting because...
That's not really answering the question about the clients, but I can answer it about myself.
No. I mean, this question comes from the context of that it must have been around a year ago or so where I was looking through loads of data from clients that we were working with. And I noticed there's a certain kind of sector of the climbing community where, or people that we test and we see what finger strength scores they have, for example, how strong they are in the upper body.
Yeah.
And they're way above what you would really kind of expect. And you'd typically class those people as,
Mutant
almost
strong.
like mutant strong or underperforming to what we think their potential is. And then I took a bit of time to actually go out and send people messages or chat on Zooms to say, could you tell me about your balance of indoors versus outdoors?
Yeah.
And I nearly always found that all those people spent 50 days a year or less outdoors.
Oh, really?
It seemed to be like the critical level. So it was around once a week or less was just not adequate to allowing them to use it properly.
I think it doesn't give you enough time to sort of express it, does it? Like it takes so long to sort of get used to the movement of outdoor climbing that maybe doing it that little is just not enough.
Yeah. I almost wonder whether it's because if people are into both projecting and mileage, your one session a week or less suddenly just gets used up with projecting. So the amount of moves you get done weren't a great deal. So you never learn anything outside.
Yeah, and you just get good at that one thing. Yeah. Or you need to like mix up between the projecting and the mileage. But I think some people find that hard because they almost want to go outside to do their project. They don't want to go outside to do anything less, really.
Yeah.
It's all about the pyramid though, isn't it?
I know that flipping pyramid.
Oh, it's so good though, isn't it? You just got to get that base and then you can get to the top of the pyramid. But maybe I should draw it out so people know what I mean.
I know, yeah. Well, I was working with someone the other day and they'd done over 108 Cs and they were wanting to climb their first 9A.
No way.
And I was like,
well, I've got a good base.
Yeah, I was like, that is a proper base. That's the kind of base where if someone comes to me and says, I want to climb 9A, but I've climbed 108 Cs, I'll go, okay, we're in a great place here. Yeah. Not, I climbed 10 8Bs, one 8B plus, one 8C. Could you get me to 9A now?
Yeah. It's a lot harder, isn't it? You've got to put a lot more work in. Yeah. Blimey, 108 Cs.
I know.
I don't think I could name that many.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
That is well good, yeah.
But European, so.
Oh, okay.
Bit more 8C to go at compared to the UK. Okay, so.
Would you rather be an overachiever or an underachiever?
Oh, that's a good question. So I would say historically I was an overachiever compared to my physical ability.
Yeah.
And I ended up in a status quo where I was constantly, I felt, what's the word? Kind of paranoid that I just hadn't put the effort in because I was so weak compared to everyone else that climbed the same grades. So I was like, I need to sort out my training.
Yeah, I'm going to get really
funnily
strong.
enough, I've like gone the other way around now. Where I don't climb enough outside and I work a little bit too much. Because I just love all this lattice stuff and I just do too many hours.
Love the grind.
Yeah, so I end up having better metrics than what I should do for outside because I don't get enough mileage in.
Okay. But at least it means that you could have... There's like no balance, Yeah, strange that.
Yeah. Okay, next topic.
Yeah.
And this is one I think you're going to enjoy.
Okay, really?
And almost certainly have a strong opinion on.
Oh no.
Is whose opinion in climbing actually counts for you as an athlete or what you encourage people that you're working with? And what I mean by this is, does it actually matter what your climbing partner says to you about your climbing and training? Does it matter what people say on social media?
No.
Like, where matters?
I think the only opinion that counts is your own opinion, really.
Interesting.
Well, I think there's like a middle ground. I mean, I personally think that far too many people have far too many opinions these days, and we won't delve into it. But I just think that essentially, at the end of the day, your opinion is probably the only opinion that matters. If you think that something is really impressive, then that's great. I think as long as you're not like cheating or like lying, then your opinion counts. But if you're like twisting the truth, then obviously other people's opinion counts. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's really hard because I think people post stuff on social media to get other people's opinions about when they do something impressive. But really, why do you have to share that with everyone else? Like, surely if you think that you've done something really good, then that's the only thing that matters. Is that you're proud of your personal achievements? Is that the sort of thing you're going off for?
Well, I don't know. I think me and you probably see this in somewhat of a different way because, and it might be that we're very different personalities.
Yeah.
You always seem very certain to me, and you know what you think, and you'll generally voice it. Yeah. I'm a very soft, muted character who will hardly ever put opinion across. No,
that's not you.
No, I'd say that for me, I actually find that for my personality, I actually need the opinions of others. Okay. Because I get so obsessive and in a hole that I will spin around my own ideas until actually I'm not realistic on them anymore. Yeah. And I'll follow the same habits. And I found people like Ollie, who, is my partner here at Lattice, is actually, because he's known me for so many years and he knows my kind of training and working habits, is actually his opinion is probably my most valuable away from my own, because I've learned to not trust my own anymore. Because I can get so far down a rabbit hole that
you need someone to drag you out.
Yeah, and when Ollie says something to me, it generally really actually means quite a lot, and it means that I'm probably way off on a path. If he goes, Tom, I actually think that you're doing way too much volume. Yeah.
Or that goal is not realistic for this time frame.
Yeah. It will pretty much be right, and it will probably be the opposite to what I'm thinking.
So is he like you're like Jiminy Cricket, your like little conscience on your shoulder?
Yeah.
Do you think everyone needs one of those?
I think it's useful.
Yeah. I would say that my partner probably helps me in that way as well. But I think the problem is when you're like dating someone and they're also telling you that is that you generally don't listen to them as much. I don't know if anyone else finds that. But sometimes if he tells me something, I'm just going to be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that because you told it to me. Whereas if someone like you told me, I'd be like, oh yeah, maybe I'll try that. Yeah. But I think it's good to have like maybe a small group of people who you feed ideas back with and like listen to. But I think the broader the pool, it's like too many chefs, isn't it? The broader the pool of people you're listening to, the more diluted the like good opinions and ideas get they get more diluted. So yeah, I think it's good to have maybe a small group of people who you
Actually, this reminds me of a really good game to play on climbing trips.
Okay.
Or an exercise to do. And everyone watching, you should definitely try this out. It's just brilliant.
What is it?
I think Is
it Would You Rather?
No, it's not Would You Rather. That's a great game as well. And I think I read about it in a magazine years ago, is that if you're on a climbing trip and you've got 4, 6, 8 people that are generally around that know you reasonably well, and you're all, in a campsite, for example, in an area, is sit down one evening or on a rainy day, and everyone has to get a piece of paper and they score and they mark everyone else in the group on their top 3 strengths and their top 3 weaknesses.
Yeah.
And then you reveal and share as a group. So it's like a hive mind thing on all your friends.
That could be brutal.
And their opinion.
Yeah.
And I
just
did
on
it.
your climbing or your general
No, just
human
on your
being?
climbing.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, not just on you as a human being. That could be, that could be dismaying. But they break it down. And it's actually really remarkable because I did it on a few trips years and years ago and I kept the pieces of paper.
Oh, really?
And if I reference back to them, all the things that people told me were the things that I didn't really want to believe, but actually, on reflection, were absolutely true.
Yeah. Did you then try and turn those weaknesses into strengths and sort of like broaden out? Yeah. No,
and I would say that was one of the bigger reasons why I actually went forward over that 10-year period, was because I went, oh, finally, okay, this many people have this opinion and they're all saying the same thing.
I think
it's great, that exercise.
Yeah, maybe we could do that at the staff social.
Oh, today, the staff party, everyone goes around and marks each other.
Yeah, we could do that. It's interesting you say that because I feel that as a climber, maybe I don't do this, but I feel like as a climber, I do that personally, myself quite a lot. So I do a bit of self-reflection. So I'm very aware of what my weaknesses are. And I do try and work on them. But maybe it's just slightly different personalities in that I'm much more of a loner. So I maybe don't have those friends to like tell me what's wrong with me and my climbing. But I think it is a really important exercise that everyone should do, is that try and figure out their weaknesses and work on them. What were your top worst 3 climbing attributes?
So one was power endurance.
Oh, was
so like
it?
the mid-range of actually just going for it for, 1 minute. All in. I'm actually quite good on very short little sprints or very long drawn out things.
But not that mid-grade. Yeah.
And finger strength.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Because you spend all the time in those cracks.
Yeah. But at the time, I actually thought I had quite good finger strength because I tend to do everything on vertical terrain.
Oh, okay,
So I was really good on standing in, on my feet, on vert techie edges.
Yeah. But you're probably putting so much weight for your feet that you're not using your fingers.
Yeah.
Oh. See, that's good because I guess you thought it was a strength, so you would be like, oh, I'm not going to train my fingers so much.
Yeah. And I see that loads with clients who do their initial feedback forms and things like that, and they say, I think I'm pretty good on finger strength because when I climb on really small holds, I feel great.
Yeah.
And I think they're missing that element of actually what you probably are as a really good technician, and you're standing well on your feet and you're positioning your body well. So typically your fingers aren't necessarily as strong as you think.
Yeah, I guess that's why the testing's good though, isn't it? Yeah.
Next topic, you ready?
Ready.
So next one, and we get asked loads of questions on this on social media, is what do you think a deload week can and should look like? So when people are trying to cut back from the amount of training they do for a week, is it 100% rest? Is it going cycling and swimming all week? Is it still doing some intense work?
Yeah.
What's your opinions on what actually works when it comes down to climbing?
So maybe we don't put this in the film, but I actually never used to take deload weeks.
You can definitely put that in there.
No way.
It's on. Sam's recording. Don't worry, I've admitted to all sorts of terrible things over the years.
But now I do. I'm about to have my first deload week in 2 weeks. I'm very excited. And I don't know why it was. Maybe I did have the deload weeks, but I wouldn't know it was a deload week. And I'd maybe just go outside climbing a bit more in that week. So I really struggle with like the thought of a deload week and the thought of doing less. And
like the concept seems boring.
yeah, like it really, and I'm just like, I'll have so much more time. I don't know what I'll do in that time. Like I just want to train because if I train, I'm going to get better. But I have slowly come around to the realization that deload weeks are worth it because you don't burn out when you're climbing and you do get better. So I think it depends on the type of person. So for me personally, my deload week is still some training, but less volume, but still relatively high intensity. So maybe still like a little board session or like some outdoor climbing or something like that. Just to like sort of let my body recover, but like less than the normal training load. For some people, they might want to have like a complete week off or something like that. But if I had a complete week off, then I'd really struggle the next week to like get back into the training. Yeah. Like I'd probably need like a deload week and then a slightly deloaded week and then a training week. So, but yeah, I think it depends on what you're like as a climber, really.
I'd say that for the vast majority of advice that I give out on deload weeks is to tell people that they should be less scared than they think on maintaining intensity within your deload week.
Yeah.
It's really about reducing load.
Yeah.
And you can reduce that load through the volume aspect.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like, I mean, I'm exactly the same. If I take out all board session and fingerboard for a week, let's say, when I come back around to it again, I feel so terrible.
Yeah, I feel so sluggish.
Yeah, like I'm really off the pace.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like I'm more likely to pick up an injury in the first few sessions because I feel like my muscles are switched off, essentially.
Yeah.
Because I'm quite an endurance-y person.
Yeah.
So maintaining, say, 2 quality fingerboard sessions in my deload week actually still feels like I'm still very rested and I feel great coming into that next bit, but I will cut out almost all of the aero cap and I might do like a half session of power endurance.
Yeah.
And
that's the most tiring one though, I find, but yeah. No, I probably do something similar and maybe complement it with a bit more outdoor climbing. Which is still intense, so it's probably still not a deload week, but I feel like maybe you go out climbing for a whole day, but you wouldn't do anywhere near as much intensity or volume as what you do when you're actually training for a whole day or doing so much more just like chatting and belaying.
Yeah. Like the time under tension.
Yeah, and talking about people's opinions.
Yeah. 90% chat, 10%.
And the 10% climbing is probably only 5% climbing and 5% sitting on the rope, so it's actually not that much time under tension.
Yeah. So it's basically a board session and falling off a lot.
Yeah, basically, but it's outside. Yeah.
That's why we like it so much.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. High failure rate is good. Yeah.
Okay, last one is on quality versus quantity in training and where you sit on that blend. Is quality more important or is quantity more important? Or are they the same or is there nuances to that?
I think they're both important. I think I have probably moved from more quantity to more quality now. So I think I used to think the more I do, the better I'll get. But actually, if you do really long sessions and you don't and you stop way after that sort of tiring point, and I think that's actually sort of detrimental to your strength gains and stuff. So now I go for quality as opposed to quantity. But there's probably still a fair bit of quantity in my quality.
Yeah. I would say absolutely identical to that.
Yeah. I think it's really hard because I think, I absolutely love training and I just want to if there's a new set, I just want to go and do all of the new set and I get really frustrated if I can't do one, so I want to do that one. So I find it really hard to stop mid-session if I'm still got unfinished business. So it's almost like a learning curve to make me stop halfway through. And I do feel like I have got a lot better since I've started doing that in my sessions. Yeah. It's easy to get carried away.
Yeah. Okay, this one is for you, sport climbers. And listen up carefully because this is a quality versus intensity thing or quality versus quantity. Is when you're going bouldering, you want to make sure that your rests are good and you're not acting like a sport climber, you're acting more like a boulderer. So if you want good quality in that intensity, you need to be taking 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 8-minute rests between good quality attempts. I see so many sport climbers trying a really hard boulder, kind of get frustrated, and then 30 seconds later, I've seen them pull on again, or 1 minute later. I mean...
Yeah, guilty, I do that.
Yeah, I mean, I do it.
But it's not good, you shouldn't do it.
I know, and it drives me mad because my mindset's so much in that way. I'm like, I'm comfortable being tired or pumped or powered out.
Yeah.
I just want to pull on again.
Yeah, I just want to do this move. Why can't I do this move?
I mean, I had a session on that board the other day.
Yeah.
And I was trying one move and I must have tried it 30, 40 times in a row.
In a minute.
With about 15 seconds rest between each one. Like, what am I doing?
Did you then like go get a cup of tea, come back and then do it first go?
No, I found an easier move.
Oh, really? That's the way to train.
Typical route climbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or find a drop knee for it instead and this is a lot easier now. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great chatting to you about
Well,
a
thank
few
you for having me.
hot topics on there.
Yeah.
It didn't get too controversial, actually.
No, I'll save that for next time.
Yeah, no leaf blowers,
No.
quadruple stacking of pads.
But that's all still fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget that for this channel, we have loads of other videos to explore. Check out Rhos's previous episode where she was on with Josh chatting through a load of climbing stuff. And also we publish this stuff in audio on our podcasts. So if you enjoy listening to these chats on Ask Lattice, you can just have the audio version whilst you're driving to work or the crag or a weekend trip. And you can just download those on places like Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, etc. So click to like, subscribe, go and check out the podcast, and we will see you again very soon.